All right, folks, so as we've discussed and celebrated in previous videos, the campaign of Ron DeSantis is not going well. There was a time when he was competitive with Donald Trump for the GOP's nomination, and now he is rapidly falling through the ranks. He's falling into a close second place, then a distant second place, and now, as a matter of fact, at the time of this recording, he's neck and neck with a political newbie with very little name recognition, Vivek Ramaswamy. That's how bad things are for DeSantis, and that's hilarious for us because, of course, DeSantis is awful, and we should celebrate in his political failures. Now, Laura Ingraham, who is a Fox propagandist who used to love Donald Trump, and I think at one point she was pretty favorable to Ron DeSantis as well. I think potentially as a viable alternative, Trump without the baggage, I think was Laura Ingraham's position on DeSantis. Well, she has her own advice and her own assessment of Ron DeSantis' position and his situation, and it conflicts with the commentary provided by Donald Trump. And I'm going to play Ingraham's remarks, then we're going to play Trump's remarks, we're going to unpack it, and then I want to play you a clip in the same footage, in the same episode, in which Laura Ingraham has her own diagnosis and her own commentary of the Trump campaign. So let's start with Laura Ingraham on Ron DeSantis.
To Governor DeSantis. The voters in Ohio and Arizona, Pennsylvania, they don't know you very well, but they don't want to hear a litany of Florida accomplishments at this point, as great as they are. They want to know that you're going to be able to defeat Biden on the issue that is number one, the economy. So talk about the economy. What are your specific solutions to protect American jobs and bring down the price of energy? Smile also. Have fun out there. Don't be afraid to show your personality and ask the people what's on their minds. I promise you it will not be Disney or Bud Light.
So some of that's true, right? Obviously, the vast majority of people don't care about these unnecessary fights, these culture war fights that you've picked with, first, the Walt Disney Corporation, and they're currently beating you, or at least stand a great chance of doing so. They've humiliated you, certainly in the press, to the point that even 50% of your own Floridians are siding with Disney over you, and that's in your own backyard, Governor DeSantis. But also this, budding conflict with Bud Light, which is, again, unnecessary. That appeals to a very specific group of Republican voters, but that's not going to win you a general election. So she's right there. She's also right that DeSantis should talk more about the economy, right? If you are a serious politician and you are a serious governor in the sense that you actually affect and execute policies, well, what are your policy ideas on the economy, right? Now, obviously, Ingraham doesn't want to accept the fact that Republicans, in terms of their policies, they don't have popular economic policies. Cutting taxes for the rich, it's not really popular with the vast majority of Americans. Things like that doesn't do much. Focusing more on stocks than people's, employment opportunities and wage gaps, things like that, that's really not the priority for the vast majority of Americans. So that's good advice, but unfortunately DeSantis, like every other Republican politician, has very little on which to campaign in terms of substance, even with respect to the economy. Especially when, if you debate Biden on the economy, then you have to talk about the many accomplishments, the positive economic developments which have happened under the Biden administration, for which DeSantis has no rebuttal or no refutation, right? But the funniest part was she was like, listen, don't be afraid to show your personality. Don't be afraid to show your personality, Governor DeSantis. Well, Donald Trump has a different philosophy on that, and this is what he has to say about the struggling campaign of Ron DeSantis.
Like Ron DeSanctimonious now, they won't like him any better 6 months from now with the start of primary season. The more people get to know him, the lower his polls are going. He's now in the mid-teens and falling fast. He will soon not be number two. Looks like it won't happen much longer, but he deserves it because he's a very disloyal person. Make America great again. Thank you very much.
So obviously, of course, Trump's beef with DeSantis has nothing to do with, again, matters of substance. He's just upset that he believes DeSantis was insufficiently loyal to him, very petty stuff. But what's hilarious is, so Ingraham says, hey, don't be afraid to show your personality, Ron DeSantis. And Trump is saying, no, the more people see of your personality, the more they get to know you, the less they like you, which the polling seems to support. Whatever you want to say about Trump, and I've got a lot to say, he has a bizarrely likable personality to Republicans. Not so much me, but to Republicans, whereas DeSantis really doesn't. So it's hilarious that their two, their diagnoses of the ailment of the Ron DeSantis campaign is in mutual opposition. But in the same episode in which Laura Ingraham criticized or diagnosed and offered advice for Ron DeSantis, she also had some pretty blunt words to say for Donald Trump, which I'm sure he'd be interested in hearing if he hasn't already. So take it away, Laura.
It should be a 50-state campaign for America. Attacking popular Republican governors or senators in battleground states is more than unwise. It's self-destructive. Why do it?
She's pointing out how, and repeatedly, Donald Trump has attacked popular governors like Brian Kemp in Georgia, who, by the way, after all the crap that happened in 2020 and the pressure and the dishonesty and the pressure campaign that Trump put on Kemp and others to basically swing the election in his favor, after all that mess and all the personal attacks that Trump has made on Kemp since then, Kemp recently came out and said that he would vote for Trump if Trump's the nominee in 2024. That's how cultish this thing is. And then Kim Reynolds in Iowa. Trump dissed Kim Reynolds, who again is a very popular governor of Iowa, in Iowa. So again, she's saying he's picking fights with people he need not. Continue.
Voters in a general election want to vote for a winner, not a whiner. So please, for the love of God, stop talking about 2020. That will not bring a single voter out to support you who didn't support you before. You need to grow the pot, not shrink it. Be magnanimous and be the elder statesman that Biden is not, obviously capable of it. That will reassure people. And look, your policies worked before, they're going to work again.
Your policies worked before. What policies? He didn't build the wall. He didn't repeal and replace Obamacare. He didn't develop an infrastructure law. What did he do? The economy? He shepherded initially the continuation of Obama-era economic trends, but that's mostly credit to President Obama and Democrats. And then he drove it into the ground, first with a disastrous trade war with China, which the American taxpayers and American consumers bore the brunt of. And then his stewardship of the COVID pandemic caused widespread national economic catastrophe. So what policies are she talking about? But that's the thing. When people talk about Trump's good policies, they never actually give specifics. And when the few times they do, and you say, well, what about this, this, and this, they flee for the hills. So anyway, it's hilarious. Her saying, Trump, don't complain. Be magnanimous. Be generous. Be an elder statesman. Trump, that's completely out of line with Trump's character. He's too stupid. He's too ignorant. He's too corrupt. He's too incompetent. He has no interest in being an elder statesman. He has no interest in versing himself in politics and, history and things that actually would contribute to statesmanship, bipartisanship, good faith, all these things. So it's just hilarious to me that she would even, with a total lack of irony, that she would offer advice like that to Donald Trump, who will almost certainly ignore it.